Welcome, everyone. This is Tony Patiño, and we are excited to bring you our latest episode of Trust Talks. These episodes are with abacus leaders and top performers sharing what they do to build, lead, and execute with trust every single day. This week's episode is about the power of execution and how it plays out each day in the contact center. All right, everybody, how you doing? This is Tony Patiño. We're doing our Trust Talks episode with on execution, and we have a very unique guest list today that we get a chance to talk with our contact center team and with Natalie Ciccone, our director for the contact center. Cleveland Watts is our call center manager. And we got a special guest with Christine Benitez, who's been here for 23 years, literally since the doors opened here at Abacus. So really got a unique perspective from three different roles and three different people. And we're going to talk about execution today.
Sure. So thanks for having me on, Tony. And as far as what got me here, I came from a very different background. First of all, I've been with Abacus for about a year and 3 months now, and it's been awesome. I absolutely love it. But my background actually comes from the funeral industry. So I come from again, very different background. But at the end of the day, no matter what business you're in, it's always about customer service and serving that customer as efficiently as possible. So when the opportunity arose for the contact center director position, of course, I had my doubts. I had never been in a department such as this or a company such as home improvement. But I went for it. I met with you and the executive leadership team, and I loved the vision and what the company stood for and everything that it does for its employees and its customers. And I said, you know what? I'm going to jump on board and see what happens. And I absolutely love the ride so far. So that's what brought me here to Abacus.
Very unique background, and my similar to I came from outside the industry, so I totally get having coming into this space and trying to figure it all out, and so I definitely can relate to a lot of the early growing pains that you had and into the contact center. So Cleveland, tell us a little bit about your journey.
For the last 23 years, I've been in contact center. So I spent 6 years in the Air Force. Once I got out of the Air Force, my first job out of the Air Force was working at a contact center. And like most people, you think it's going to be temporary, but then I saw lots of areas to grow. And then you also see like how you can affect so many people's lives, because a lot of people at contact centers like their first introduction into the workplace. So you get to affect them and show them how to be professional and things like that. So I like to see people grow. So I stayed in contact center as I grew in my career. And then I worked at another company that gave me the chance to like go over the world and launch contact centers. But when that one closed its physical location here in Houston, I got the opportunity to come here to Abacus. It was a contact center, and it actually was the first job I had, because in the Air Force, I actually did civil engineering. So it was HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. So I already had this type of experience in this type of setting before. So it was just like me starting from the beginning again.
Wow. That's a unique background. I used to go from the Air Force and military, civil engineering, and moved into the contact center, expanded yourself into different roles, and then landed here. So that's fantastic. And we're so fortunate to have you too. So you have a ton of knowledge, a ton of experience in what you're doing. All right, Christine. So you've been here for a little bit of time, right? 23 years. Kind of tell us what got you here, and more importantly, like what's kept you here for 23 years. That's phenomenal, Christine. And it's been a journey ever since, right? That's been an incredible ride for the last 23 years to see the company go from 6 technicians to, I mean, in Houston, we're pushing 200 plus technicians almost, and then the growth in Austin and everything else. So it's phenomenal to see that type of growth over the years, and you're a big part of it. So what does a great day look like for a CSR or a dispatcher today?
Well, a great day for me, the way I look at it is that it starts with like preparation. So you ever heard, I mean, we've all heard the term, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So what it usually starts with, like, say, the initial training, and then the daily coaching, the weekly touch bases and things like that. And then what we do is we just ensure that our CSRs are implementing all that. That way it makes what we see as execution and success here at Advocates just habitual. So it's just basically using the tools that we give you to the best of the ability, and then knowing that when you show up to work, that it's a customer first attitude. And as long as you have that on auto drive, then you can't help but have high execution.
So yeah, that's what I heard was preparation, right? Communication, preparation. So and moving to Natalie really quickly. So how do you define what winning the day? We talk a lot about winning the day. What is that, from inside the context? What does that look like?
Yeah. So, winning the day for me personally and for our team, it's basically making sure we're giving it every single thing we have. every piece of positive energy, starting off with a right mindset and doing all we can, giving it all we've got to make sure that we're booking as many jobs as possible. We're servicing our customers that have any type of complaints, feedback that they need to talk about. And of course, our dispatch team, making sure they're getting our technicians out in the field. But as long as we do, there's a whole bunch of things we do, but as long as we do all those things and we make sure we do them as efficiently as possible, we have a strategy in place. And most importantly, we've got the right attitude and the right mindset. For me, that's winning the day. We may not win the day every single day, but we know we have the next day to try and make it right. So again, lots of different things we have to pivot and do, but winning the day is just having the right mindset and just being as efficient as possible as one team, one engine.
And that's easier said than done, right? When to do the mindset piece, at least,
Right.
the everyday coming in with the right attitudes is yeah, everybody's got stuff they're juggling throughout their life and maybe got their personal stuff going on. And, you know, just all million things can go wrong in your day, and being able to kind of turn that switch on when they get into their seat and being able to say, hey, listen, I know I've had a bad start to my morning, but I'm going to park that over there because I'm here at the office. I got to do it. I got to get my mind right. Got to make sure that we're executing at a high level. So that's easier said than done. And it takes a lot of leadership. It takes a lot of people all moving in the same direction with that to really fully get great execution. So question for Cleveland, then I'm gonna jump to Christine. So Cleveland, what behaviors that you've seen over the years, what separates an average performer from the really great ones, the excellent, the excellent performance? What do those behaviors look like?
I'm gonna use a quote from Coach Pop. It's people who've gotten over themselves. So they understand like that they're here to do the company's mission. So they always put the customers first and they put advocates first. And usually those are the people who they want to grow their careers and they aren't complacent. So to grow their careers, of course, you have to buy into the culture of the company and then you want to see it grow and grow and grow. So it's like I said, it's those people who've gotten over themselves and they come here and they put the customer and the company first.
Yeah, and again, that's another one of those easier said than done, right? Because you got usually your higher performer, and sometimes they got a little bit of an ego. They want to be, they're me people. They want to get, they like the pats on the back, but it's to be able to put the company first, the customers first, and they understand that by doing that, everything else pays off, right? So that's important, right? I think we lost Christine. I think she'll jump back in hopefully in a second. So I'll come back to her on this. So we'll keep it going here. Roadblocks. We'll talk about roadblocks next. So what's the most common execution breakdown that you see, Natalie, in your role? Where do you see kind of failure that or roadblocks that can hinder execution?
I would say top of my list for sure is communication. When there's a gap in communication and everyone's not on the same page, everyone is not understanding the mission in unison, that's a huge roadblock right there. And so I know sometimes people are like, oh, we have too many meetings, we have too many this. You know what? It's necessary because that communication needs to be there. And I really feel like when we have these in-person meetings, it just creates a totally different level of accountability and knowing what one hand is doing to help the other as a whole team, not just a contact center, but our, trades, everything from our technicians to our marketing to our BSI team. It's working as one team. And when you have that lag in communication, that's a huge roadblock. So I like having that in-person meeting. I think it makes a big difference.
No, it's huge. I'm a in-person guy. I know we do a lot of Teams meetings and
Yeah.
Zoom meetings and everything else, but it is different when you're sitting across from someone where you're sitting in a room and you're trying to work through a challenge or you work through a problem. And you can, just people, it's just a different, it's a different vibe. It's a different level of for me, you get just a different buy-in when you're there in person with people.
Yeah. And I always say face to face is where the magic happens. That's how I live by that. I love that. So
And more for you, Cleveland. Here, how does a fast growth environment create its own friction? I mean, we got a lot going on all the time, and we have a lot of change and a lot of pieces coming together all at the same time. Why does that factor in as a roadblock?
Well, a fast growing environment, I mean, it factors in as a roadblock because a lot of people have fear of change. So if you have a fast moving environment, there's a lot of things that change in that fast moving environment. And a lot of people a lot of times they're afraid of change because there's a lack of trust because they're not either used to the manager or we're still building that trust. But once you build the trust, then of course they understand, okay, well, there will be change. We're moving fast, but they're not going to implement anything or ask us to do anything that they will need to do themselves or that they haven't already done the work on to ensure that you're not putting us in like a bad position. Everything that you're asking us to do is going to make life easier for us down the road. And once they start saying that, and I can give you an example, like one of the CSRs, we were coaching her one time. And of course, they gave us pushback on when we implemented adding notes. But she learned later on coaching that we put the notes there so that you would know what was going on in the call. And she was like, back in the past, I would get flustered because the customer would ask me something and I would have no idea what's going on. But because we've added those notes, then I know what's going on. So I didn't get flustered and I have a much better relationship with the customer. So it's just them understanding that the only thing constant in a contact center is change, and change happens fast. You just have to build trust in your lead, or have trust in your leaders that they're going to walk you through that change and put you in the best position to succeed.
I'm going to come back to something you said a little bit later in the show here, but I do want to jump over to Christine. I know we had to good to get you back on, Christine. I think so. Earlier question I had for you was around execution, and you've seen a lot over the last 23 years. And my question for you is, what did execution look like 23 years ago versus what it is today?
Well, I think the mindset is still the same from 23 years ago. It's just broader. It's confident, and it's about believing in your company, believing who you work for, and believing that we're going to deliver. And it has to come from within. And I think that if you have those qualities and your team provides you the sources that you need, there's no way to fail. I mean, we're always going to have our days, but it's just coming together and working together and just overcoming the obstacles, because you're gonna get them, and when you get them, you learn from them, and you just kind of just share that your experience and how you dealt with certain situations. So I think a lot of it's just teamwork and communication. It's key, and again, like I said, confidence, and just having the sources there so you can grow, and it's been like that ongoing. I think from the get-go, we've always been about customer service, always been about taking care of the customer. But as we got bigger and broader, people come in and they have a different mindset on how they do things, and we're always the advocate's way versus their way. And so it's just about just coming together and all just saying, hey, we're all here for the same reason, and we just kind of encourage each other and just kind of just push onward and to see what happens and hope for the best. And so far, it's been great. It's been a great experience.
Our mission isn't right. It's just that we fail to communicate. And I think or we had a lack of communication or not enough communication, or, not everybody. And as the organization gets bigger and bigger and bigger, there's different, there's bigger schedules, there's more people working. Not everybody gets the message the same time in the same way. So we have to, as a leadership team and as a team here, we have to evolve with that too, right? Not everybody reads email. Not everybody sees their team messages all the time. Not everybody gets their text messages all the time. So we really got to really focus on over communication and making sure that we say the same message and be consistent with the message over and over again, so that we get the level of execution that we want, especially in a contact center where you got a variety of different people in different roles and everybody's moving so fast. So it's incredibly important to have solid communication. You got different CSRs, different dispatchers that you guys have worked through over the years. But Cleveland, what do you do when a CSR or a dispatcher is struggling? What does that look like from a coaching? What does good coaching look like to you?
Well, first you have to set aside a time in the area so that they can have your full undivided attention. So if they're struggling, you first want to figure out what's going on with them. Like, is it a skill or a will issue? Is it something that's going on in their life? So usually when Drake and I, we pull them in the room and we start coaching them, we'll always start out with asking them, like, how's everything going on in their life? Is there anything that is like affecting them on the day of the call that they had? If it was like particularly like a struggling call or something like that, and we give them a chance to express that. Once we figure out, okay, you're okay, and it's not something personal that got you off your game that day, now we have to figure out, okay, are you struggling because it's a will issue or a skill issue? If it's a skill issue, okay, then we'll listen to calls and we allow that CSR, because once we bring them in the room, we already know what the area of opportunity is. So we'll let them listen to the call, and then we'll want them to point out things that they did good. Well, we also want them to point out the area of opportunity, and we'll see if they can locate it. If they can't identify the area of opportunity, then we really understand that it's a skill issue, because that means they just definitely didn't know that they weren't doing it. So then we'll like guide them to the area of opportunity. Once we get there, then we'll coach them. We'll give them best practices. We'll ask them, what do they see as the roadblock? And then we'll develop a plan together that we'll meet with, say, over the next, because everything's not going to happen in one coaching session. Is I'll give you the best practices, and then I'll touch base with you once you go back to the floor so that you understand. I'm not just going to kick you back out to the floor with these suggestions and just leave you there. We'll touch base with them, say like an hour and a half, just to see if they're implementing and if they're comfortable. And then, I mean, it's just the coaching over a period of time until we understand that you've gotten stronger at this. So it's mostly just execution and just constantly helping them through the challenge through proper coaching, skill setting, and things like that.
I'm a big, we've been talking a lot about trust this whole year, trust, getting Ready, Set, Grow is built around trust. What role does trust play in your, in a team member's willingness to improve?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's first of all, it's one of our core values. And as far as trust goes, I think it starts from the leadership team that's in place, and then it trickles down to everyone else on the team. Because at first, if we can't trust each other as a leadership team and know that we will go through the wall for each other, how is our team that reports to us ever going to feel that? So trust is a huge component. So communication, trust. If you don't have trust, the team will fall apart. So trust is huge, and we have to lead by example. So when you ask, okay, how is your team going to know that they can trust you? You need to lead by example, and you need to let them know that we will go through the wall for every single person in the contact center and beyond. So to me, that's trust. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Thank you. And now, Christine, I'm going to go back again. You've got the unique position that very few people have in the building, is that you've seen it over 23 years, right? You've seen the contact center from a very small center to a larger center. Tell me a little bit about what has that taught you over the last 23 years about watching the teams and really you've seen good teams, you've seen some not so good teams, right? And you've seen good leadership and you've seen some average leadership in the contact center. But over your 23 years, what does that look like for you? What did you learn from all that?
I've learned that as we grow, there's more challenges, and that's how we all have to come and play a role and have to come together. And I've seen different things, as you said. I've seen people come in and they're just here just to be here and socialize. And then I see people come here that are very loyal and very dedicated. And I think it makes a difference because we as leaderships and people that are over them, we have to be able to depend on them and make sure. And just like Natalie said, with trust, it's really true. I mean, you have to be able to, like a supervisor, be able to walk away and know that this person is going to make the right decision, and know that when things are getting crazy, sometimes you do have to make those decisions on your own. And that's where the trust comes in. You want to do what's best for the company. So a lot of times when that comes up, you just have to really just rely on just common sense and just be loyal and just keep going and follow your core values and just know that it'll fall into place.
So I'm going to kind of transition this next topic over to because the contact center plays such a critical role in the success of our field technicians. And a lot of, it starts and ends in the contact center for me. I think, we're only as good as the first impression we make over the phone or our first interaction, whether it's through chat or whatever that may be in the contact center. So this is probably more a question for Natalie. What do you want technicians to know about what your team does for them?
Yeah. So, first of all, I want us to be known as the contact center with the best in customer service throughout the home improvement industry. I mean, white glove service. And like you said, Tony, it starts from the contact center and it ends there sometimes. So I feel like that's the nucleus. As far as our technicians, they're part of our team. We don't see them as, oh, they're part of HVAC or they're part of plumbing. They're part of the Abacus team, the Abacus family. So we're there to support them. We're there to make sure that they're busy for the day, that we're there to, help them route on to wherever they need to go, whatever questions they have. So the biggest thing for me is to make sure that the technicians know we are on their team. We're rooting for them every single day. We're trying to get them as many jobs as possible, get them to as many customers as possible. And what I'd love to accomplish at some point is where there's just a genuine just boost of morale and trust and communication between our department and everything else that trickles down after that. So we're there for them and we want to see them succeed, because if they don't succeed, we don't succeed. And most of all, our customers will feel that. And that's the last thing that we want.
Good stuff. And then Cleveland, when the contact center executes at a really high level, what does that make possible for the techs in the field? Like what I know Natalie kind of touched on it a little bit there, but you see it firsthand every single day.
Well, first, it keeps them busy because it keeps jobs booked on the board. But second, I mean, if the customer calls in, that contact center is performing at a high level, then we're setting the tone for every job that customer goes on. So if that customer calls in and we give them a great customer experience and pleasant interactions, well, we haven't gotten any of their money yet, so we're already taking care of them. So when that tech walks in the house, the customer, because we've already built the value, so the customer sees the value, so they're not as much focused on price as to what the tech can do for them, because what they understand is they took care of me before I got my money. The tech is going to come in and he's going to have that same high level of interaction that we've already set the tone for. And then when he does pitch the estimate or the job or whatever, well, they already know that that's two people that they've interacted with that they know at Abacus is going to take care of them. So they see the value and they're more likely to move forward with the job because they know regardless of what happens, we're going to be there for them. So we kind of make it easier by, I hate to say buttering the customer up for them, but we set the tone with a good interaction and they understand that Abacus is committed to providing them with a good customer experience.
Thank you. And again, I think a lot of times just for everyone, right? Everyone doesn't always know what everybody else does as the organization's bigger. And I think you have an idea what a technician does in the field, but there's different trades and there's different things that go on. Just like a technician has a perception or a thought, this is what a call center does all day or doesn't do all day. So it's really good that they understand that we're all one team. We're all working together. We're all part of this bigger wheel of trying to make sure everybody's just a spoke in the wheel to make sure that the wheel keeps moving and keep moving in the right direction. All right. We got a couple of questions here and then we'll wrap it up. So, all right, we're still good. Everybody's good. Okay. So we'll jump in and I'm still kind of talking about the field technicians and how the call center kind of connects with is the bridge between the customer service and what we do in the field. So I think, Natalie, in your 14 months with us, have you gotten any direct feedback from a technician, that positive or negative, that's really stuck with you just over that time?
I'm trying to think. Nothing, I'll just say this, nothing negative, which
Right.
is great. So I welcome that. As far as positive, the one thing actually, it wasn't negative. It was more dispatch. Like, you know what? We need a little more communication from dispatch. And I absolutely agree. And that's what we're trying to improve upon. One of the items. And then another comment I've gotten is, we love the communication we're getting from your team, from the leadership team. Because again, everything we talk about with our general managers trickles down to the technicians. And also, we do have, I know Anna from dispatch is at the weekly meetings on a very consistent basis. I've started popping in on one every month. So this way I can build more of a relationship and they kind of get to know me a little more as well. So they see our presence. But as far as, comments, just those items, really nothing that was negative. It was all good feedback for me, because even if somebody feels like you get negative feedback, well, you take it and you make what you're doing stronger and better to help support that team. So I welcome it.
Good. That's good to hear. I mean, and again, I think with a number of technicians, it's always good they're giving you positive, or even even if it's tough feedback, it's feedback, right? And we want feedback, good or bad, and not all feedback's going to be great, but it's good that it is. But it's also critical that we do something with the constructive feedback as well. So kind of just getting ready to close this up. I've got a few more questions for you guys, and I'll start off with Christine first. So Christine, 23 years is not an accident. You've been here for again, you've been here for good and bad. You've seen a lot of good stuff here over the years, right? So what keeps you coming back? Yeah, just what keeps you coming back every day with a smile on your face and the right attitude?
Yeah.
It's hard.
It makes me think back when we made our first million, and we were such a small company and we're acknowledged for that. And I'll never forget when Alan shut down the office and we went to some luncheon and we were on the stage and Alan said a few words and they're pretty much acknowledging us for making that million for being such a small company. And so we're on stage, we're looking around and as soon as we cut down off the stage, people were just coming up to us and they were just like, how did you do it? How did you do it? And that then and there, that moment, I knew we had something special. I knew it was in a special place. I knew that I was part of something great. And that keeps me coming back. And I hold on to that feeling every time that I'm here because it's just been ongoing. goals and making those goals and accomplishing those goals. And not with that, but with my personal life too. It makes me more ambitious, makes me have goals, it makes me look forward to things. And so that's what keeps me coming back. I always think back to the basics, and it's like my second home,
You
you
spend a
know?
lot. Yeah, it's everybody's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here, there's
it
sometimes
definitely is.
Yeah.
We joke around we're gonna get a futon for the content. Just kidding.
So one other question for you, Christine. What is Abacus and this office given you? What have we given back to you? You've given out 23 years to us. What is that? What is
I
we get?
think, yeah, all my years here, I think I've gotten the best education. I've gotten to know how to deal with challenges and patience and growth and especially change. I mean, that is ongoing. I'm adjusted. And at the end of the day, like when we moved like 4 different times, and I would get so frustrated because we were moving. I'll never forget this incident that we moved to the new building, the third building, and we only had one cell phone that all the calls were coming in because they didn't transfer the line on time. And there's just one phone. And here we are just all there and trying to move in. And I'm like frustrated because we only have this one phone and people were calling. And at the end of the day, we did it. The phones came back on, we were all back in, and it was a very challenging time with all the changes and everything, but it was also so exciting too. And I just feel like a great part of being part of our history. And I just think that I just love it. And I think that with everything that I've seen, good or bad, we come through. We always come through together. It's always going to be okay at the end of the day. It's going to
Right.
work out.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everything, all those years and everything you do, all the blood, sweat, and tears you're putting in throughout the years to get us
Yeah.
to this point, right? And we continue
Yeah.
it, continue it even to this like very day where we're going live with a new software and
Yeah.
everyone's all in, pitching in and to work on making sure that the execution is flawless and everything
Exactly.
it's seamless for everybody. So, question for you, Natalie. So, what gets you up in the morning? Like, what is there? Yeah, what drives you every morning?
Well, the first thing I would say is my family, 100%. Anything I do, I've got my husband who is beyond supportive. Our two girls, I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old, and everything I do is for my family. But then, I always say if you wake up in the morning and you can't smile at the thought of where you're going to work, it's not the right fit. And I got to tell you, when I get up in the morning, I smile, jump out of bed. I do what I got to do, see my family, kiss them goodbye. And I drive happily from Katy to Houston for that, 1 hour, whatever drive. But I'm seriously smiling the whole time. And I'm like, this is okay because I love where I'm at. And I can't imagine, I mean, Christine being here as long as she has, I can completely see why it does become and it has become a second family to me. So, yeah, I smile every day when I'm here. So that's definitely what gets me here and will continue to.
Fantastic. And we're again so excited to have you here. So, blessed to have a person like you and your leadership on the team and helping us navigate through all the changes that happen in the contact center and dispatch teams and everything else that we're working through. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Cleveland, got a question for you. So what do you want the CSRs and the dispatchers that are listening to this take away from today's conversation?
The biggest thing I would like them to know is that we're their advocates. Like, we're not here to like hold them accountable or to make their life hard. We're here to advocate for them to be the best possible CSR they can be. So even when it means so we're basically trying to teach them like what it takes, for example, for Ready, Set, Grow. With Ready, Set, Growth, I mean, I said earlier, like if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But with Ready, Set, Growth, I mean, being ready means constant growth. So what we like them to know is that when we're trying to get them to grow, we're doing it because we want to see them to be better individuals, better employees. And yeah, sometimes we're pulling them out of their comfort zone, but I'd rather them know that we're pulling you out of your comfort zone because you can't grow in your comfort zone. The more you get at ease with being uncomfortable and using what that uncomfort helps you with, then the easier your job gets, the easier life gets. Because if being uncomfortable makes you afraid, then it's going to be a lot of steps that you can take in life that you're not going to take in life. So we just want them to know that we're here as their advocates and we just want to see them be the best employees and people that they possibly can be.
I'll go with Natalie first. So question is, what does trust mean in your world? And how do you build it? How do you know you have it?
Yeah. So for me, first of all, trust is loyalty. Loyalty to our team that we're working with, the whole company. in general, loyalty to our customers, that we're going to do the right thing at all times, even when no one is watching. So that for me is trust. And when you get to that point, you're absolutely unstoppable. You're unbreakable. And, the core values that our company has, that's something we've each got to follow every single day. So when you put all those components together, that's trust. Yeah. So for me, being in a leadership role, and coming here new, it was getting myself surrounded by the right leadership team. So I had to go, get that step done first. So I have the right leadership team around me. I'm so grateful for Cleveland, Anna, Drake, Tanya, what we do together and the support that we've built and the trust that we have that emanates throughout to everybody in the contact center and beyond that. So it starts with, for me, the leadership team I have around me that's supporting me, and we just support everyone as we flow through the day and through the year. So for me, that's trust in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll go to Cleveland and I'll wrap it up with Christine. So Cleveland, what does trust look like in your world?
In my world, trust, let's see, Natalie said loyalty, so I'm going to say reliability because, I mean, you have to be reliable for someone to trust you. Like a person's not going to trust you if every time they ask you to do something, then tomorrow you didn't do it. So I know a lot of times people look at it from a leadership standpoint is that my CSRs have to be reliable, my employees have to be reliable, but that goes both ways. Like Christine is a happy call CSR. So if Christine doesn't feel like I'm going to be reliable to be there when she needs me or to be there when she has a roadblock to remove that roadblock out of her way, then we're never going to build trust. So that's what trust means to me. Now, how is it built? It's built through honesty, respect, and consistency. I mean, if today I tell a CSR one thing and then tomorrow I do something totally different, well, that's not consistent. And they're not going to trust me on the third day because they're going to be like, well, he did this on day one, this on day two. Who knows what he's going to do on day three? So it's more so just being consistent, being honest, being upfront, and gaining their respect by respecting them. And that builds trust.
So what does trust look like to you in your world?
Trust to me, it's Natalie nailed it. It's totally loyalty and establishing relationships, work relationships, and being professional and passing that attitude so everybody is in the same level. To be able to come to you and talk to you if there's an issue and be able to confide and to feel that you can come to you. People who need to be approachable and people who need to be able to talk and talk about their needs and how to make them successful. And how I know that it's been established is when they come in with a great attitude and they come in happy and they're glad to be here and they're just ready to see how the day goes. That's when I know that, they're at the right place. And we're glad to have them.
We're so again blessed to have the three of you on our team, and I'll just kind of wrap up. I'm going to ask myself. I'm going to kind of answer the same question: is what does trust look like to me, in my world, and what I see and what I do. And for me, it's the core values. It's honesty, it's integrity, it's teamwork and respect. Those to me all build trust. Those are the trust builders of the organization, and because you can't have trust if you don't have those core ingredients in you, right? That's why they're the four pillars of our business and the four pillars of what's made us a successful organization over the years. And so for me, I think, how do we build it by attracting the right people to the
Yeah,
organization, right?
absolutely.
And the organization, it isn't about having I'm a firm believer you hire for the person and are they a culture fit to what you are, and you teach them the skills that are needed to do the job, right? So that's why we hire people that have that fit the culture pillars that we have in the organization. And that's why we train a lot, we teach a lot, which we're constantly doing that, because that's what separates us from everyone else. And I
Exactly.
go back to this all the time is when people ask me about the organization and what has kept Abacus so successful over the years through transition, through change, through everything else. And I always say it's the people. I mean that it's the culture that we have here, and that we're here for each other. We're not perfect. We're far from perfect, but we are honest, and we're accountable. I tell people all the time, I make a lot of mistakes, but I own every one of them. And that's how I grow. And I think that's the thing for all of us to learn is we're here to build trust. It isn't about being perfect, but it is about being honest and having integrity and doing the next right thing when no one's looking, and working as a team, and always being respectful for each other.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's sometimes hard to do for everybody. So But man, guys, it's been a pleasure talking with y'all. Hopefully everybody learned a little bit about you guys that they didn't know when they started this podcast. And really, truly honored to have you guys on the team. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you,
for having
Tony.
us.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.